Hello everyone, I'm Lindsay Imami and I'm here with Kelly Goodman of Main Street Home Loans. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself first?
So I am a Northern Virginia native. Was born and brought home from the hospital in Springfield. I know, it's rare.
Yeah.
I have 5 siblings, including a twin sister. I live in Springfield still with my husband and my 2 kids and my dog. And yeah, I love to play pickleball. I like to bake. I like to do mortgages.
Awesome.
Those are my hobbies.
Yes. Is your husband a Northern Virginia native? Or?
He is actually.
Yeah?
Oh, actually, so his family's military.
Okay.
Yeah, so he went to school and everything for the majority of his life here, but he was actually born in Texas.
We will be quick. Yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, okay, that's awesome. Yeah, usually it's like so many transplants here. So.
I know. Whenever I tell people for that, I never realized that was the case until I was older.
Yeah.
And then I got into the working world, and I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody's from here.
No.
So I was just used to being around everyone who's from here.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. So what made you begin a career in home loans?
Oh man. So it was actually completely random, which, that's the way life is.
Yeah.
But I was, early 20s. I think I couldn't even drink yet. I was really super young. And my older sister's right after the 2008 bubble burst, which is a great time to get into mortgage.
Of course.
So my older sister worked for a financial advisor who had a loan officer friend who suddenly were like, wow, we have to take applications and look at people's documents. Whoa, what a change.
Yeah.
And so they need an assistant. So he and 3 other loan officers need an assistant. So I literally took the job.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And it was supposed to be just like kind of a quick landing spot.
Yeah.
Because I was like, in my 20s, I'm going to do something philanthropic. Like, things are going to, I had this higher purpose, I thought.
Yeah, I'm going to change the world.
Yes. But then I ended up in the mortgage industry and realized, like, what an impact you can make in people's lives just by giving them more information than they ever thought they needed or could use.
Absolutely.
And then, here I am today, 14 years later.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, cool. So what's the meaning behind the name of Main Street Home Loans?
I think it's just really, it's kind of behind, like, Main Street, right? It's the main street of a small town, or, like where everyone kind of circles back and comes back to.
Yeah.
And really what we try to embody at Main Street is really culture-focused, people-focused, really giving back to Northern Virginia, our communities, and giving the extra loving care that clients need and deserve.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I know you're your own mortgage loan officer, so you're part of that. So what makes you different from other mortgage loan officers in the area?
Yes. So I think what really makes me different is that I like to call it home financing with a heart, right? Where, I don't consider myself someone who's kind of like a fast food person, right? You come in, you're like, this is the loan I want, and then I give it to you and you leave, right?
Yeah.
I like to treat every single one of my clients as if they're my family, and I like to hear everything about what you need and want. And then, you advise, or you instruct, I advise, right? So you tell me what works for you and your family, and then I'm going to advise you on the different things that may work for you. And then, of course, even after you're under contract and you're going through the loan process, I'm still 100% involved. I like to treat all my clients as if I'm a concierge, right? I'll connect you with homeowners insurance policies. If you don't know where to ask a question, I always tell my clients, start with me, and either I can give you the answer or I can point you in the right direction. It's just really taking the old kind of idea of a loan officer who's a stuffy person in a bank, right? Yeah. And flipping it on its head and be like, hey, this is someone who's fully immersed in my process and who really loves and cares for me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, it's the biggest purchase typically of everybody's life.
Absolutely.
And it can be super overwhelming and stressful, especially if you're a first-time home buyer.
Oh, big time. And it's like it's like when you go and you take your car to a mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Everyone feels like they're being hosed by a mechanic because they don't know any better. Here's this person who has all this information that you cannot get without spending years, right? And so it's that same feel with a loan officer, because it's like all this stuff I know that you don't, right? And to pull the wool over your eyes is so easy because you would never know any better.
No.
And it's like taking that and keeping that in mind and just really approaching your clients with patience and love and care and wanting them to know more because they do deserve to know more.
Yeah.
That is really kind of my, I guess, philanthropic
idea
I had in my head.
Together,
right?
Yeah. Well, and like building that trust. Right?
Yes.
I mean, it really comes down to that.
Yeah,
feeling
absolutely.
Like that, they can trust you and that you'll be honest with them, providing honest information.
That's like the biggest thing for me, and it's what keeps me sleeping at night. And it gives me happy. And I tell my clients, I'm like, as sad as it sounds, I legitimately enjoy what I do. I love what I do. I love that my clients text me, they call me, we laugh. Like, if I can go and make something that's inherently a really stressful process easy and comfortable and even enjoyable for them, I'm like, that's the cat's pajamas. That's what I like.
Yeah. Cat's pajamas. I haven't heard that in a long time.
I love the old timey speak.
Yeah. I started using I haven't seen you in a dog's age recently. Ooh, my friends are like, what are you, 90?
I said hoisted by my own petard a couple weeks back. And everyone looked at me as like I was the oldest.
They're fun.
I still have CDs.
Yes. So I know you said you're into the philanthropy and helping out the community. So does Main Street Home Loans do any community service in the area? Or
Absolutely. So we do a lot with the Alzheimer's Association.
Okay.
The owner of my company's mother was impacted by it, so he's put a lot of time and energy into making a difference on that front, which is huge.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I like to do stuff with Leukemia Lymphoma Association.
Okay.
Just because that impacted my life. My father passed away from it. And then I also really like to do things for people who are food insecure. I do stuff with Food for Neighbors, which is a really great program in the Northern Virginia area.
Yeah.
And it's really geared towards kids, which is like, hurts my heart, who don't have access to food outside of school programs.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice. I recommend everyone do it. It's really super easy too. They give you a red bag. They give you a list of things to put in there. And it's stuff that like kind of pulls your heartstrings because it's deodorant, it's feminine products. It's like little stuff that like all of us don't have to think about. That you kind of just put on your front porch, and it makes such a difference to kids who don't have access to that. And it's stuff that we really readily do. Right?
Yeah. Well, and that they can make a huge difference. Deodorant, especially like teenager.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Like, and that's such a rolling effect for kids too, where it's like, it's a separator, right? They don't deodorant, they don't smell good, and people notice they don't. And, it's like, it's a small thing that makes such a big difference in people's lives. It's like the stuff that really, fills my heart that I like to do.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. So do you have any current insight? The market's kind of crazy right now. It was like, booming, and now we're kind of slowing down.
Yeah.
Do you have any insight for people that are either first-time home buyers or current homeowners that are looking to sell and buy?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the biggest thing to keep in mind, even though we're in a rising interest rate environment, there's a couple things that I kind of, like to keep in mind is first, when you're looking at the past 14 years, we have not had any normal rates, right? Like 2008, we had the bubble burst. And so that meant that, of course, interest rates were going to be lower because in order to stimulate home ownership again, the Fed mortgage bonds were arbitrarily lowered, right?
Yeah.
So when that happens, you see interest rates lower, and then we had the pandemic, right? And when that happened, in order to stop recession from beginning to be such a big issue, they of course lowered the interest rates again, because when you do that, you free up money, and now we're on the other side of that, where there's too much money, right? So, and the big thing I like to keep in mind is first having perspective, right? When you look at the past 70 years and you keep in mind that the average interest rate was 7%, it's like, okay, we're still doing good, right?
We're still below it.
Yes, my parents bought 1987 and their interest rate was 13%. So it's like, and that was considered low. So having that perspective. And then keeping in mind that you have to pick your value, right? It's great to have that lower interest rate, but then you open a whole world of people who can compete against you, right? And then you have everyone who wants to capitalize on the interest rate too, which is why we hit the 2021 that we did.
Yeah.
I mean, the average people went over in the country was $65,000 over asking price. And in this area, 75 to 100.
Yeah.
You waived everything. You got in the house. 1 in 3 people bought homes sight unseen. So they didn't even see it. So you got in the house, you had a really super great interest rate, but then what do you pay for if you didn't know that HVAC was going on? Or, you know, like, and that's not to say that was a bad time to buy, but it just means it was a different time to buy. Just like now's a different time to buy. You have the higher interest rate, yes, but then you have rights again. You have seller's credit again.
Yeah.
You have, you know,
right? Yeah.
And then you get in the house, as long as the payment is manageable, you wait it out, you see interest rates lower, you just refinance, you know?
So, well, and you're not using all of your cash to make all these repairs that you didn't realize needed to be made.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's a big thing too, is like, you're using so much cash for closing costs a lot of the times, especially when sellers could do whatever they wanted at that point.
Exactly.
And then, you know, now at least you can get some money towards closing costs and you're able to keep your cash, which, you know, is really important too.
And even then what's kind of cool is seller credit doesn't have to just be for closing costs. If you have more credit card debt than you want, you can pay that off at closing and use seller credit to help you do that, right? And then on top of that, you can buy down your interest rate with that seller credit. So there's so many different ways to leverage the market right now, where it's like if you're letting the interest rate stop you, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Because if this is the right time for you and your family, then you do it now, you don't wait. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's excellent insight. Okay, so what's the best way, you know, if people are interested in learning more about your loan products and you as a loan officer, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
So there's a few ways. I have Instagram, which, you know, if you just want to hear some kind of tips and get to know me, it's at DMV Lender Kelly. But also you can email me or call me. I have the same phone number for 20 years. And typically I like to kind of start with my clients with just a phone call, just to hear about what their preferences are, you know, what they're looking for a monthly payment, and then I put everything together for them. But it starts with a phone call, and then, you know, just kind of go from there. But typically, phone call, email is the best way.
Okay, awesome. And I'll have a slide at the end that has all your information as well. So, And then, you know, you've been born and raised in this area. So with your family, or even like growing up, what are some of your favorite things about Northern Virginia? And like, what do you guys like to do as a family in the area?
So my favorite things about Northern Virginia is the greenery, right? We have so many parks, we have so many trails, we have everything. And even just driving down the Fairfax, this is where I'm going to get a little gushy, because I legitimately love Northern Virginia. It's cheesy, but driving down the parkway, right? Driving down the parkway during the fall, and you see all the foliage, different colors. Like, I mean, where do you have that? And then you're 30, 40 minutes away from DC, right? Like, you don't have that kind of relationship typically between the city and the suburbs, and it's just wonderful. I just love, you know, I've been here for so long that I just love, there's so many people I know, so many people I'm connected to, and I just love that feeling. My family and I love to go on just walks. I mean, hikes. Where we live in Newington Forest is very trail heavy. So we typically just bring the kids and just go on trails all the time. And of course now we have this like winery and brewery like atmosphere. Which is like
they're everywhere.
It's so hot right now.
I know.
But we have that too, so that's pretty cool because you just drive out to Loudon, you have old wineries. I'm a beer person, so I like to do breweries instead. But you know, have all that, and I just love just the area is so wooded and so gorgeous. And I mean, even Burke is another good spot that just is all the wooded area. So that's kind of my favorite part. I have more, but I could talk for 30 hours.
I know. Well, especially with the pandemic, like all the outdoor stuff that we've been able to do. I mean, we are very fortunate.
That was a lifesaver.
Right? It really was.
We would have lost our mind at some point. I mean, we all did for a short period. Like, it would have been worse if we could. I was pregnant during the pandemic too, so it was just like being able to go outside and explore. You know, and
keep another toddler busy.
Exactly. Here's some dirt. Enjoy. That to me was a total lifesaver for sure.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. It's been great getting to know you, and then I'll have all of your contact information right here. So if anybody wants to get in touch with Kelly, you'll be able to.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.